The wrestling locker room isn't as rambunctious as it once was. Any disagreements between wrestlers today are more likely to result in a social media feud than a physical altercation. But back in the day, things got a little rowdy. The unexpected outcomes of some of these infamous backstage stories are the best part. It wasn't always the bigger, badder person that prevailed. With that being said, please don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. I'm KB the Marks from WBP TV, and these are some of the biggest upsets in real life brawls between wrestlers. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro.
I'm a visionary, revolutionary. I'm a visionary, revolutionary.
Oh my god! Joey Styles just defeated JBL is presumably what the aforementioned announcer would say if he called his own hit that knocked out the Hall of Famer. It's generally known in the wrestling world that JBL was a backstage bully. He maintained the habit during one of their tribute to the troop tours in Iraq, where he targeted the broadcaster Joey Styles and Lillian Garcia. Styles allegedly had enough and knocked JBL to the ground with a single haymaker. This took place in a WWE locker room in 2003, but the seeds for this battle were planted during their time in WCW. Chris Jericho was a fantastic up-and-coming talent who had developed a storyline with Goldberg, who was already a real star at the time. Because Jericho was a cruiserweight, Goldberg rejected because he wouldn't appear credible. When their paths crossed again in WWE, Goldberg was allegedly ranting about Y2J. This time, Jericho decided to approach him, and the two got into a fight. Surprisingly, the Ocho won by putting Goldberg in a guillotine choke. Not that Booker T was a small man, but popular thought holds that the bodybuilder monster that was Batista could take down Booker if necessary. Throw that thought out the window, for the animal was defeated by the five-time WCW champion. Back in 2006, Batista was bragging about how SmackDown was the B show, despite the fact that everyone associated him with the blue brand. He also didn't shake the hands of all the boys at an event, which is a wrestling no-no. Booker T, as a locker room leader, put him in his place for his crimes by defeating him in a brawl. In a real-life combat, the Celtic Warrior should be able to take most wrestlers smaller than him, but he's fallen short on multiple occasions. Sheamus went to the Raw training room after a match in 2014 to be cared for. According to legend, all of the trainers were preoccupied with other wrestlers, including Sin Cara. Sheamus demanded that the luchador go so he could take his spot, stating that he was more important than him anyway. Sin Cara wasn't a fan, so he took the huge Irishman down and fists flew, with Cara emerging victorious. This one happened in the good old WCW when Kimberly Page caused a squabble between her husband Diamond Dallas Page and Scott Steiner. Kimberly allegedly discovered an illegal substance backstage and ran to management, informing them it belonged to recovering user Tammy Lynn Stitch. Stitch denied the accusation and offered to take a drug test right then and there, which she did and passed. When Scott Steiner found out what had transpired, he actually chased Kimberly out of the building and she would never appear on WCW TV again. DDP tried to defend his wife at the next TV taping, but was completely demolished by the larger Steiner. According to reports, Steiner aimed for Page's eye and attempted to end his career before it was broken up.
Scotty was so fucking big back then, man. He was like, "Get off of me!" to them. I was like, "Damn, he's scary." Like, it was like a surreal moment for me, friggin'. And fucking, I just fucking kicked him as hard as I came, and then he came down on me. And I was like, "Oh boy, this is a really bad spot to be in." So I went into the fetal position trying to protect myself. And they're trying to pull him off right at that point. And I didn't realize it, but his hand kept coming in, and I didn't really realize it until I went, "Oh my God, he's trying to take my eye out."
This titanic conflict began when Big Show discovered that Khali had stolen one of his trademark spots. Everyone is familiar with Big Show's overhand chop that appears to cave in his opponent's chest, and Khali is all too familiar with it. Khali was accosted by his equally huge co-worker backstage after copying the show. Big Show informed Khali that he observed what he was doing and instructed him to stop. Khali's harsh answer enraged Show, who hurled the Indian's bag into the corner. Big Show landed the first punch on Khali's jaw after accepting what he assumed was an offer to a duel. The hit pushed the gigantic Indian back, and the two continued to throw giant fists at one another until Show made a reckless swing and tripped over a chair, causing him to stumble onto the floor with Khali on top of him. Big Show considered this a defeat because Khali came out on top. It sounds like a more entertaining fight than the ones they've seen on TV. Future UFC champion Brock Lesnar got into a fight with Mr. Perfect Curt Hennig during the famed plane ride from hell. The stories about this plane fight are famous, but just one had everyone on board terrified for their lives. Hennig was apparently stoned and was challenging Lesnar to take him down. Lesnar was a newcomer at the moment, and he wasn't sure what to make of it. Paul Heyman allegedly informed Lesnar that if he didn't silence Hennig, he'd never hear the end of it, so Lesnar leaped to his feet and smashed Hennig into the jet door, nearly ripping it off its hinges and terrifying everyone on board. Management swiftly broke up the fight, and Hennig was dismissed for his actions. Kevin Wacholz was the ex-con that feuded with Big Boss Man in the early 1990s, as older wrestling fans recall. Younger fans are unaware of who he is, and this battle is the reason for it. Wacholz was dissatisfied with his compensation from SummerSlam 1992 and complained to Vince. Vince allegedly ignored him, which enraged Wacholz even more. Wacholz assaulted Vince in his office, choking him out and turning McMahon blue. Wacholz was obviously fired immediately, and he missed out on his anticipated main event assault against the Ultimate Warrior. However, the story does not finish there. Wacholz testified for the prosecution in the McMahon steroid trial. Wacholz was meant to assist in putting Vince in jail, but he contradicted himself so frequently that he is perhaps the main reason McMahon was exonerated. One of the most recent additions to our list. The motive for this scrap is unknown, but it had an unexpected effect. Things allegedly flared up at Jimmy's Famous Seafood, where the AEW roster had congregated for food and beverages. Jimmy Havoc had too much to drink and got into an altercation with Excalibur, of all people. For those who are unaware, the current AEW announcer was an indie wrestler. He used a sleeper grip to choke the raucous Englishman out. In fact, triple threat matches do occur in real life. Vince McMahon once jokingly jumped Kurt Angle backstage and took him down, according to Kurt Angle's book. In true Vince's manner, he reminded Kurt at every opportunity that he was the only person backstage who had ever taken Angle down. Angle resolved to exact his vengeance on the plane ride and assaulted Vince in the aisle. McMahon suddenly became concerned with furthering the feud and attempted to shoot on Angle whenever he could. They stirred up a sleeping Undertaker during one of the scuffles. Taker clearly didn't realize McMahon and Angle were just joking around when he grabbed Kurt from behind and strangled him out. That's it, everyone. Let us know in the comments any real fights you think should have made the list. Please don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Once again, I'm KB the Mark, signing off. Until the next one.
I started with nothing and came out a king. I've been the one that's been ballin' for rings. It's been me and my team and we chasing the green. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free.